the US, we would expect a premature infant to have access to extensive medical resources to do whatever is required to ensure the child's survival. Access to care is an expectation and reality. The outcome is generally favorable. Now imagine a premature baby born in rural India, unable to regulate her body temperature and produce her own body heat. The child's survival depends upon immediate medical intervention. But because of circumstances, she lacks access to those basic resources. Rural areas tend to lack hospitals and medical clinics that are equipped with the level of personnel and equipment needed to help these most vulnerable patients. Electricity is sometimes unreliable or completely absent from these areas. The financial infrastructure does not exist to help these regions. So often, premature babies don't even get a chance. Premature birth is the biggest cause of death in children worldwide. Globally, 1 million premature babies die every year because of complications, including hypothermia. In India specifically, 3.5 million premature babies are born every year, and many die because hospitals are ill-equipped or parents cannot afford to travel to urban areas with better medical facilities. There are over 300,000 premature babies that die in India every year because of complications. Preemies cannot regulate their own body temperature. They have more surface area than weight. They don't have enough body fat and energy to keep themselves warm. The only effective intervention is to place them in an incubator until they grow enough to sustain their bodies. Traditionally, an incubator is a big plastic box that uses electricity to form a heat bed for the infant. With a price tag as high as $5,000, it is a luxury that most rural medical centers just do not have. But if they did, many of these premature babies could have been saved. The idea of an affordable and accessible incubator was designed by a group of Stanford graduates in 2008. They have distributed their incubators in Nepal, South India, and all over the world, and have saved 300,000 infants across 22 countries. They have 2 incubators, one which requires electricity and one which works without it. The one that does not require the use of electricity caught my attention because I knew how desperately babies in India needed this. I lived in Bangalore, India for 2 years. I was fortunate enough to live in urban areas with all medical facilities available to me. However, the suburbs and other parts of India are completely the opposite. I saw poverty and how families could not even afford to eat, let alone have sophisticated medical care. My baby cousin in India was born premature as well. She had access to all resources needed to become a healthy infant. I was reminded that this privilege does not extend to everyone, and perhaps I could provide some solution. Based on my background research, I set out to create an accessible incubator that could be made affordably and operate without electricity. I started by hand sewing 2 fabric pouches in a small sleeping bag. The pouches would hold 2 Ziploc bags filled with a material that could maintain heat. The creation would then be placed in a secure bassinet. Here is the incubator. I tested out materials such as sugars, oils, and waxes to see which would keep a constant temperature for a long period of time. The oils would cool down too fast, and the sugars wouldn't get warm enough. Paraffin wax, however, was able to keep a constant temperature of 34 to 35 degrees Celsius, which is normal body temperature, for at least 4 hours, making it the ideal source of warmth for my incubator. The paraffin-filled pouches are heated by submerging them in boiling water for 5 to 7 minutes, and reheated every 4 hours. Each baby uses the incubator for a couple of weeks, but if the condition is more severe, the doctors can send the incubators home to use for an additional 1 to 2 months. Each incubator is sterilized and reused. A built-in net covering protects the infant from mosquitoes, a significant cause of concern in India, where diseases are readily transmitted through insect bites. Here are all the parts of the incubator. Below are the 2 paraffin-filled pouches and the mosquito net, and on top are the sleeping bag and the bassinet. Now I just need to get the prototype manufactured and distributed. I sent the prototype to Bangalore, India to get it tested by engineers for safety and reliability. Once it was affirmed to be safe, I reached out to someone with manufacturing contacts in India, thus increasing the ability to get the incubators to where they were needed. This incubator costs $50, quite a difference from the $5,000 option. Here is the packaged prototype. It was critical to have a volunteer in India to do the groundwork that I could not do from here in California. So through a friend's recommendation, I got in contact with Manjunath and shared my mission and vision. He was immediately on board and became our lead volunteer in Bangalore, distributing those first 75 sets directly to rural hospitals in 2020. This accessible and affordable incubator can make a life-saving difference. Some of these places lack traditional hospital settings, but now a small, underfunded clinic can have several incubators to help the lives of multiple premature infants. Infant mortality in rural areas can be reduced dramatically. In August 2021, after several delays caused by the pandemic, I was finally able to travel to India to meet with doctors at multiple hospitals for the first time. As I was demonstrating how the incubators function, their responses confirmed my hope. My device filled a desperate need and could actually help premature infants with a low chance of survival. This showed me that I had to try my best to help. At that visit, I donated an additional 25 sets for immediate use. This was a very special moment for me, and it also confirmed the path I plan to take for my future. As I'm applying to colleges right now, I plan in majoring in biochemistry and going in the pre-med route. I will later attend medical school and eventually become an OBGYN or pediatrician. I want to be a doctor who works directly with mothers and children and provide healthcare at that critical time. It is so important to me to continue this work for communities with fewer resources. I want to make healthcare more accessible than it is now, and that is what becoming an OBGYN or pediatrician will allow me to do. These doctors and volunteers are the critical conduits in implementing innovative solutions that help save lives. This can help multiple infants and families, and can reduce the number of infant deaths in India, which is 300,000. But just as significant is the number one. One infant, one life, one family spared the loss of their child. I still remember a weekly check-in meeting with Manjunath, and the first thing he said was, "Nishi, a doctor reached out to me, and the incubator helped save a life." I made an impact. Something inside of me shifted. I had the opportunity to help my Indian community by providing a life-saving device. That moment reminded me of the power of one. This work must continue. Every single one of those premature babies needs access to these affordable incubators. So I will continue to work, to partner with doctors and hospitals, to reach those communities that are seemingly out of reach because of that one baby, and the next, and the next, and the next. Thank you.